In this video, we're going to focus on the remains of stars. When a red giant or planetary nebula collapses, it's going to form a white dwarf. And these are very small stars. Most of them are significantly smaller in size than the Earth. But what makes them unique is that they are so incredibly dense. They contain about the same material as the Sun, but all of that material has been compacted into a size smaller than the Earth. So if we had just a spoonful of a white dwarf, that spoon of material is going to weigh several tons, several thousand pounds for just a spoonful. And that's because the atoms are so compressed that they make up a lot less space than they would here on Earth. It's actually going to move the electrons closer to the nucleus so that you can pack those atoms more tightly together. But because everything is so densely packed, these white dwarfs have incredibly hot surfaces. But because they've ran out of fuel, they're going to continue cooling down over time, and eventually they'll form a black dwarf. It'll just be less bright as a white dwarf. If we have a massive star that's dying, though, it will not form a white dwarf. Instead, it's more likely to form a neutron star. And these actually have even more gravity, so it's going to be able to squeeze itself into an even smaller space than our white dwarf. Due to all of this gravity forcing it into such a small area, it's actually going to collapse the atoms inwards. We're going to have those electrons floating outside of the nucleus combining with the protons, and they'll all form neutrons. So our neutron stars are very, very small, but incredibly dense. And these are the remains of our massive stars, what forms after a supernova. So when I say that these neutron stars are tiny, they are tiny. They're about the size of a pea. And each individual pea is going to weigh about 100 million tons. So we have these atoms so incredibly tightly packed that a single pea-sized star is going to weigh billions of pounds. But with these neutron stars, even though they're so tiny, they have an incredibly strong magnetic field because those atoms are so densely compacted. And we didn't know about neutron stars until the 1970s. And we found them because they emit pulsars. It's kind of like a radio signal that pulsates throughout time. And we can find these in the Crab Nebula, which is one of the images we saw a couple slides ago. If we thought that our neutron stars were incredibly dense, black holes are even denser than our neutron stars. These are so dense that it creates such an intense gravity that nothing can escape from a black hole, not even light. So black holes pull all of the matter nearby inwards. Everything is going to become incredibly hot. But one of the cool things about black holes is that they're constantly emitting X-rays.